Welcome to Camo Classroom. I'm your host, Eden from Camo, and today's show topic is how to live stream. We're going to talk all about live streaming. Yep, that's right. This is a live stream about live streaming, and we're here to answer all of the questions like, what do I need to get started with live streaming? How do I plan for a live stream? Where should I live stream to? Why am I live streaming again? All of these questions and more. So drop any and all live stream related questions into the chat, and we will answer as we go, as well as towards the end of the show. I'm joined today by Katie Fawkes, Ella Glasgow, and Doc Rock. Thank you all for joining my live stream about live streaming today. Before we jump in, we'll go around the room for quick one-line self-intros. We'll go Ella, Katie, and then Doc.
Hey everybody, I am Ella Glasgow and I am your tech headache removal specialist for virtual events at Beyond Virtual Events, and I'm super excited to be here today.
Hey everyone, I'm Katie Fawkes. I'm the Director of Marketing at Ecamm. We make a live streaming app for Mac users.
And I'm Doc Rock, Community Manager at Ecamm. Mostly I am a gear nerd, so I like to help people de-hassle anything to do with tech. And mostly, I honestly mostly get people over the fear of tech because there ain't nothing to be afraid of. Camera has never beat nobody up.
That is a very good point. I have never been physically attacked by my camera or any of my audio equipment.
Yes. I have physically attacked my camera. I have afflicted violence upon the camera, but it never upon me.
Well, hopefully we'll have no people on camera or camera on people violence today. We'll start with an icebreaker question. Who is a live streamer that you guys follow, and why do you tune into their live streams? Doc, we'll go to you first on this one.
Oh my God, well, this is my job, so I tune into tons of live streamers. A couple of ones that I follow that I just think is different because it's not what you guys would expect from me. I actually follow a guy named Dion. He cruises around in Japan, and he does a lot of live walks about, he's from Osaka, lives in Tokyo, so he was feeling a little fish out of water. And then he just started traveling to different places as his channel got bigger. The funniest thing about this, right before I got back into live streaming proper, I was like very beginning of the pandemic. And I mean, like Japan was locked down like a month before us, right?
Yeah.
And so we weren't there yet, but we were hearing the rumors that it was going to be us soon. And I watched this dude walking around in Osaka, and I was like, look at this. It's so corny. Like, this guy's just walking around and showing people places, and folks are watching this. Like, I don't really get it, right? So I look up later, 3 hours later, my buddy and I are still watching, and I was like, oh, that's funny. That is absolutely funny. So, yeah, that's what sort of got me back into it, and I love watching them because it gives me all the feels about the motherland.
All right, Katie, what about you? Who's a live streamer you follow and why?
Oh gosh. Nope. I'm not gonna pick someone. I spend most of my time watching clips of just about everyone in the Ecamm fam, so I don't have a favorite. Tom Buck immediately comes to top of mind. I guess I would say if you really wanted to kind of tie my hands behind my back, but yeah, no, I try to catch as many as I possibly can, which I don't always pull off. But
all right, Ella, and what about you?
Okay, there are not a lot of live streams that I watch, but there is at least one person here that I do watch. And I've been watching him for a long time. His name is
Eden?
Yeah. And I watch Take One Tech as well.
Yeah,
I watch,
that's great.
Yep. And there's another live streamer that I cannot remember his name right now, but he's more of a gamer, and I like watching him to see his perspective on some things with what it is that we do and see how we can incorporate that into what we're doing with our clients. Just as
Is it Harris Heller?
way. He's blonde.
Harris Heller.
I can't.
He is blonde, yeah.
It's
Is he
Harris
blonde?
Heller. I put money on it.
I'm gonna
Usually they give our
look
dot
him up.
guesses.
I'm gonna find it. Come back to me.
He's amazing.
Well, while you're looking that up, Ella, so if you've ever thought about the question, why should I be live streaming instead of doing other forms of traditional content? We've kind of given you our takes for why we attend other live streams. Doc I don't know, he just got encaptured by this live stream. Ella watches live streams to learn other things that she can incorporate into her live streams, and Katie watches live streams to engage with her community and also to learn and be entertained. So, live streaming has a lot of different ways to keep people connected. But Katie, since you have built an entire marketing strategy around live streaming, when someone asks you, why should I go live? How do you respond to that?
Oh my gosh, well, it's such a big question, but I think really in the end, it is the easiest and most effective way to grow your business through video, mostly because it's the scariest, but it also forces you to create it. So there's no opportunity when you're live streaming to, hit that pause button, hit the stop button, re-record, panic, edit, all of those things that I think often make video feel really daunting, or not case when I say this, but overwhelming for people. Live streaming forces you to do it and forces you to get really good at it, and I think really can kick off a really effective and powerful video marketing strategy for your business, no matter what your business is.
Well, we are here to help bridge the gap between people that are scared of live streaming and actually doing live streaming. Ella, what about you? When you talk to your clients and they're kind of going to you with sort of this idea about maybe going live or hosting a live event, I don't know if I should do it. How do you sort of guide people into making the right decision for them?
Well, it's like Katie said, it's a long-term strategy. And when you are putting that into your business strategy, you're giving yourself, at the end of the day, I think you're giving yourself less work instead of more work to do. Yes, there's a lot of work to do up front, but the ROI that you get from all of that upfront work and what can happen with it afterwards. And when I'm talking to clients, I'm talking to them about strategy in particular with their virtual events they're doing. If you're not thinking about what's happening on the back end, you're not building your event in a way that you can utilize it later, then you're missing the whole point.
And then Doc, Mr. Going live is not scary. Nothing is scary about doing video content. Why should people be going live?
Look, so the most important thing that people are looking for in any relationship are what's known as touch points. Now listen, that doesn't mean physically touching people, but giving them an opportunity to reach you at a level where they feel seen. That's the modern terminology for what we in the marketing game call touch points, right? When you can make a person feel seen, when you can make a person feel like they are part of something, you have unlocked the number one key to having any sort of business interaction with these people. Business is built on relationships. Being on camera, actually, let's back this up. Being on email is saying, hey, we make some of the best sparkling water in the world. Nothing. Doesn't count, not a touch point, doesn't do anything. Being on the live stream today, say, hey guys, today, welcome to the Timeline stream. Today, I'm gonna show you 15 really fun summer drinks that you're gonna be able to make. I hope everybody has their bottles. Drop in your questions, and anybody that brings their own recipe that we really enjoy, I'm gonna send you an entire case of this Hell to See Tansan by Wilkinson. Not sponsored.
Not me looking around to see where my bottle is.
Now people are part of the thing. They're doing it. They got it out, and you're like, add one part of this, and then add a jigger of your favorite whiskey. Only stir it 13 times. Little squeeze of lemon. The perfect highball. And like everybody's doing it. It's a different vibe. No one wants to be talked at. They want to be talked with.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
Exactly. I love Doc's point about the touch points. It is about human connection. It is about a direct human connection. So I'm going to take this opportunity to shout out a friend of Camo, our friend Imran of Web Squadron. I was watching his live stream yesterday, and he was talking about why he goes live 5 times a week. And it was because he shows up because people show up to his lives and ask him questions, and he feels like it's the best way he's able to serve his community by directly opening up a space where they can ask questions and just even hang out. Like, it's really awesome to see. when you have a community that's built around live streaming, and I've gotten to see what Ecamm does and be a part of that as well. And I just feel like there's something different about watching a live stream, interacting in the chat, and having the person on the live stream respond to what you're saying on the chat versus just watching a long form video that's covering the same topic.
Yeah.
So now that
Well,
oh, go ahead, Katie.
I was just gonna say you're learning with other people. Like, I mean, even right now, watching, everyone jumping into your comments, I see 5 or 6 people that I know really well, and I know really well because they are in the chat commenting and asking questions in many of the live streams, if not all of the live streams that we do. So you really are building relationships, and I think that's hard for people to think about when they're approaching live streaming. It feels like you're focusing on creating this video, but you forget that it really is a conversation that you're having with your audience, and the more they contribute, the more you're getting to know them, the more they're getting to know you. It is a two-way street, even though it's not a two-way conversation the way that we're talking right now on video. So,
Right.
Yeah, well, now that we've convinced people that they absolutely should be live streaming, Katie, you mentioned people being caught up in approaching the live stream and how to plan it. How do you plan for a live stream? So Doc, you've been live streaming for longer and more consistently than almost anyone I know. Could you share with us a little bit about your process for planning a live stream and how that's evolved over time and experience? Because I know I don't even think you plan for live streams these days.
No, I don't. It's second nature at this point. Much against Katie's angst. she wants me to plan them. No, it turns out that in the beginning, the most important thing is that you just do it. Like, don't get caught so much in the planning that you don't actually activate those muscles. Your first 50 to 100 live streams are going to be horrible. It is what it is, right? I average well over 1,000 a year, and I've been doing it consistently the last 3 years. So in the last 3 years, I've done at least 3,000 live streams. Prior to that, I would do them whenever, or, being on various shows or whatever's like that. But it does really help it the more you get on. So in the beginning, I suggest you pick a date. What I was doing was just going when I felt like it. And Stephanie, was like, listen, dude, I need to be able to find you, and you're like a moving target. And I'm like, what do you mean? And she's like, well, you know all of the tech stuff. And I'm looking at Stephanie. So Stephanie Garcia is one of the best live streamers in the game. And, she works with us a lot on a bunch of different things. And I was like, what do you mean you need to hear what I got to say? And she's like, well, because I got the other part covered, but I know nothing about the tech stuff. So I'm always watching you because you're like my CTO. And I'm like, wait, what? So she was like, I need you to pick a date so I can build my calendar around you so I can find you because I need to learn all this tech stuff. And it made me realize that you have to be where your audience can find you, right? You know for a fact that your favorite noodle spot is closed on Tuesday. So you don't think about it, right? When I'm ready to go get some, like look fun or whatever, I'm not going to Eat and Shop on Tuesday. It's closed, right? But I know the other days of the week, clockwork, Christmas, New Year's, everything, clockwork, as long as it don't fall on the Tuesday. And so that's the first thing you need to do is pick a day where your people can find you, show up consistently. And the rest is simple. Like, you really just have to do it.
Consistency. I love that you brought up consistency. Having a set time that your audience knows you're going to be there and showing up regularly for them. I think it sounds easy, but for a lot of people, that is probably the hardest step to overcome. Like, we live in 2023. I mean, everyone has commitment issues, but but we can all try our best. I also think that, you don't have to show up 5 days a week when you're first starting out.
No.
Like, you
Right.
can,
You shouldn't.
Yeah, exactly.
Actually, no, you shouldn't. That's very true.
You can pick like realistic goals that you can show up for. So for example, we just
Exactly.
started doing live streaming for Camo. I'm going to be honest, I would love to live stream 5 days a week for our audience, but right now I really know realistically I can only commit to showing up twice a month, every month exactly, where I know that I'll be able to show up with good content and bring value to the audience. Now, as we move forward, that frequency I hope will go up, but for right now, I have set goals that I know I can commit to and deliver on. And Katie, being the planning person on the team, how do you plan for a live stream when Doc is just like, I'm just going to show up and we're going to do this?
Oh, that's a good question. I mean, we do a decent amount of ad hoc stuff, but we do try to think through, what are the topics of interest that people need help with or might be looking for or, want to learn more about, and how can we make that content digestible? So again, with the live format, for us, it tends to be either shows that we run weekly, bi-weekly, or monthly, mini series. So that, maybe that's like a show we're running for a couple months, or it's, condensed into a week, challenges and workshops, things like that. And you want to have them planned out enough in advance that you're able to promote them, right? You're able to let people know where to be, what the frequency of it is, what to expect from it, all of that. And you want to give yourself enough time to think through and build out a repurposing plan, which is something we've been working really hard on for the last year or more at this point, is, how can we get better at segmenting out our live shows so that we know what pieces we're pulling out for what other use cases down the road, because not everyone is going to be, our audience is incredible, but not everyone's going to be able to be there live for every single thing that you're creating or live streaming or doing. So you need to be thinking about where you can put those breadcrumbs out for people to be able to find your content, thinking about the replay content. All of that goes into the upfront planning, right? You want to stream in the way that you're going to be able to do it once, use that content in a bunch of different ways. So Ecamm scenes make it really easy for us to plan that out in advance so that we literally just have to hit next and we know it's flowing the way that we want it to flow so that we're able to use that content later. So scheduling promotion and then really thinking through what the actual flow of your show is so that you're able to use that content later.
Well, there you go. Those are some other things, in addition to what Doc said, that you should definitely think about before hitting go live. And Ella, because
real quick, the one thing I want to say, I just don't want you to not do it because you don't have all of that together.
Yeah,
because that's just going to
100%.
make it worse. Sooner or later, you got to jump in the water, and you can get better as you go. 1% better. Okay, I'm done.
Yep.
I like to say I'm 1% less worse with each appearance.
Exactly.
And Ella, because I know you work with a lot of clients and you plan a lot of live streams for other people on behalf of other people, has that affected how you approach planning a live stream when you're doing your own shows and your own content?
Yeah. So, for instance, the talk show, the season that we just wrapped up with the Business Breakout and the show that Eden and I do together, TLDR with Eden and Ella, those are planned in two very different ways. The talk show is planned almost to the letter. And it's something that we talk about with our clients. And it's something that comes from my background of being on actual stages performing for over 25 years and having all of that have to be planned out. And we plan it out not so that it has to be so rigid, but planning leaves room for magic to happen in between so that you know what's happening. It seems like it's magical for those that are watching it and those that are in the audience, but it was on purpose. It was on purpose magic. But that can't happen if you don't sit down and take the time. It also allows us to stay on time because the Business Breakout and a lot of the events that we do, they're on a time schedule.
Yeah.
And if we don't, which is not like every other live stream. A lot of live streams can go on and they go on for hours sometimes. Yeah. And that's not necessarily the way that sessions are going to run. It's not the way that I run my show because it needs to be quick and snappy. We got 27 minutes. We're on TV runtime. And it's got to be planned so that we can hit that time and keep those expectations that we promised our audience, not abuse the time that we've set there for them by having a plan and sticking to the plan in the best way that we can.
Yeah, it's a really good point.
Yeah, I love what you said about respecting your audience's time and delivering what you say you're going to deliver in that set time frame. I feel like I love showing up to a live stream where I know that there's going to be a set amount of things covered, and that's why I'm showing up to it. There are times where I want to just pop into a live stream and just have it on in the background and hang out, but a lot of the times what I'm trying to if I'm trying to learn something and that's how this live stream has been promoted, then I appreciate when there is somewhat of a schedule that has been stuck to.
Yeah.
I usually start with like an overarching theme or topic and then sort of work backwards to break it down into segments that I know I want to hit, and I like to let the conversation flow organically. But if I have a show structure, I can always like go back to it even if I don't use it, and the conversation is flowing in organically.
Yeah.
So.
And it also helps too when you have that plan in place. If you're doing a live stream that's not just you, like we have all of us on right now, having that plan, while this was loose, there was a plan that you gave us even before we came today. There's a plan that I'm giving my clients before we go into their particular event. There's a plan. I'm looking at Alan's comment right now. There's a plan that you're going to put together for that conference agenda so that the people that are speaking can know what to expect and know when they need to be there, so that they are there depending on what time of speaker they are. Maybe they show up a speaker before so that they can beautifully tie in whatever they're talking about with from what was said before. Maybe they're the conference speaker that just wants to show up exactly at their time. Without a plan, neither of those speakers get to show up in the way that they prefer to show up.
Yeah, I think especially when you have a really good plan, it becomes really important, especially if you're bringing speakers or guests in, as well. So I think the best interviews that we've ever done are the ones where we're really clear, really intentional with speakers, like exactly when they need to join for the tech check, when the show is going to start, how long the show is going to run for. Even when it's a really loose conversation, having some of those sample questions up front, just so that they know what to expect. Because the reality is that even if you get really good at live streaming and it's something that you're doing often, your guests probably aren't. It's still a little bit wild, wild west for a lot of people who are joining. So having a really clear guidelines on what to expect is just going to make them much more comfortable and make your content that much stronger all the way through.
Can I give you guys a quick flowers real quick? It's super short. One of our people in the audience, actually, Aubrey, she is seriously one of my favorite people in the world. Aubrey does something called the Morning Minute-ish. She's on for no more than a minute or two. Sometimes it's like maximum like 5. And that is her way of creating all the time, being live all the time, and getting those skills together. But she's not doing an hour. So you can come on and do a less than 5-minute stream if the content is good. And for the people that she's talking to, people who have survived traumatic brain injury, actually that short stream is probably better. And she's really helping out people come to grips with what they're going through. So it's a positive stream. It's lovely. Aubrey's a beautiful person. And so I just want to let you know that if you feel like time is your constraint, don't let that constrain you. Because my mama could open the fridge and get a box of macaroni, a pack of ketchup, and some other stuff. And next thing you know, we got a whole feast. I don't know how she did it. That's like, now I've learned it though, because fried rice, I open the fridge. If there's rice, I can make anything. We're good. I will dig your whole closet out and we'll have amazing fried rice and you won't even know it hit you.
Yeah.
I will add on to that and say that is exactly the reason why Eden, if you don't mind me telling on us for a second.
Go ahead. I think I might have been about to say the same thing. So
it's exactly the reason why our TLDR show is as it is, because this year, at the top of this year, not to get back into all of the craziness, but this year I started live streaming again because I took a break for a long while and I had to build back up that muscle of live streaming. And so first I decided to just do the business breakout every other week. It was the first and third Wednesday of the month. That's what I could do. It's going to be 27 minutes. That's what we're going to do. And then Eden and I started talking about, okay, we need to add some more content. We need to be more consistent. And we were using it as a way to be accountable to each other. So we said, let's do TLDR and talk about whatever we want to talk about for no more than 10 or 15 minutes. And that happened on the other Wednesdays of the month, the other 2 Wednesdays of the month, to help us stay accountable and make sure that we could get in, we could get out, because at the end of the day, yes, it is a part of your business plan if this is something you're doing for business, but there are still other things that need to be done, and I think that piece of it can feel like it's overwhelming, that I have to add this other thing that I have to do. And if it makes it easier for you to do just a small bite, like Doc was just saying with Aubrey and her minute-ish, that you can do those little snap. There's nothing that says that the length of your show has to be a certain length to
Yep.
make it be worthwhile and to make it work for your business. Are there some things that have to do with algorithms on each particular platform and all those things like that? Yeah.
Sure.
Facebook used to have this like 10-minute thing, or live LinkedIn had like a 10-minute thing you have to be on for X amount of time. But at the end of the day, you have to make it work for you. And you can make it be longer or make it be shorter and make it work in the way that you want it to work.
100%, because honestly, when Ella hit me up, she was like, hey, I have an idea for a show or something. And honestly, when she sent me that message, I had already started to formulate my I'm sorry I don't have the time to do it response. I was like, how am I going to reject my friend because I have too much on my plate right now and I know I can't commit to doing a show. But it just so happened that she just wanted to do a really bite-sized 15, 20-minute show. And I was like, you know what? I can do
I'm
that.
in.
I
Yeah.
can. Yeah, sold. I'm in. So in a lot of ways, I feel like live streaming, you can think about it the same way as video content, period. Like, it is about committing to what you are able to fit in with your workflow and your schedule and delivering on it. And so that's also, like we said, when we're talking about planning for a live stream and promoting it, it's about delivering on how you're promoting it. So if you are promoting it as a TLDR short 15, 20-minute bite-sized show, that's all we have to show up for. And it can relieve a lot of the stress that comes with feeling like you have to do a bunch of planning to fill an X amount of time in order to please the algorithm gods. And just one more thing on the algorithm. This was a little gem dropped by Mary Lou Mandel on a previous episode of Camo Classroom. She said that you should be creating content as often, and I'm probably butchering the quote a little bit, as often as you can to stay sane.
Yeah.
So don't create content to feed the algorithm just because you feel like it's going to help YouTube or Twitch or whatever platform boost what you're doing. Create content that works for you and your schedule. And if you are doing it in a mindful, intentional way, you're going to get results regardless of the algorithm.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, real quick on algorithms. Algorithm is mostly an excuse made by creators who are not seeing the performance that they want to see because they think somebody owes them something. Let's be dead honest with you, right? When we were growing up, like, songs were 5 minutes. Nowadays, songs are 2 minutes. Record labels would have lost their mind if back in the day we said a song was only going to be 2 minutes. If your content is good, right, like really, really good, and your content is legit 2 minutes long and millions of people are watching it, the algorithm will still send people, right? If your content is whack and 5 people watch it, no algorithm's gonna, it has nothing to do with them trying to get you. Their goal is to make money for their advertisers, for themselves, and so that they can pay us creators. So they need people to stay on the platform. If your content is good, your algorithm is working. You know why your content is good? Because the audience likes it. If the audience doesn't like it, they cannot help you. Even if I were to be able to come and send you 1 million people to your show today, how many would subscribe? Is your content good enough that any of them would subscribe? If 1 million people drive by your show and went, and leave, you just wrecked yourself. So please stop blaming the algorithm. It's none of your damn business. You don't own the company. Just ignore it. It's not about you. Audience is algorithm. I feed my audience. I do not feed the algorithm on any platform.
Yeah.
And
And to be clear,
the nail on that argument.
right. To be clear, just so that you all know, when I said what I said about LinkedIn, they actually did have a requirement. They
Yeah,
did, and
they
I
had a
think
requirement,
they've now that so that you know, for you watching and you may be planning and you're like, I don't want to go live for that long. The requirement is no longer there.
Yeah.
So, but they were
YouTube
one of the
and
platforms
LinkedIn
that
took
had
it
a
away
requirement.
because it didn't work. It didn't work for them either, so they got rid of it. They all had it. Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter, they all had it.
Yeah, I think Facebook's was like 5 minutes. You had to go live for at least 5 minutes. Yeah. So now that's all gone.
It's actually a really important note, and one that I've been trying to be better at as well is that, and I think it was Joe that said it on our show this past week, Doc, on the Flow podcast, is that all of these things are iterative and should be. Like, all of these platforms are constantly updating.
Yes.
You should be constantly updating as well. So just because you leave this stream and you're like, okay, great, I'm going to start live streaming. Hey, I love the idea that Doc shared about Aubrey. I'm going to do a minute-ish every day. You could get 2 weeks into that and be like, oh, this isn't really working for me, or it's not working for my audience. It's not hitting what I want. I want to go to 20 minutes, or I want to go to 30 minutes. Great, try it. Give it enough time to really test out to see if it's working, but it's totally fine to change things up, to, add a different segment, remove a segment, change your date, have a week where things go horribly wrong and you decide you need to push it to a different week or need to push it. The only thing that matters is that you, again, are really intentional about it. You're making decisions based on what you're seeing out there and what works or doesn't work for you. And you're keeping your audience top of mind, right? So you're letting them know what's happening, why, that you're making changes to benefit them. I think we're all a little bit afraid of okay, well, I plan my show and it's going to be an hour every week and it's going to be on Tuesdays. And then it becomes, there's a week where that doesn't work, or, the numbers are not working out the way that you want them to. It's okay to change that. It's okay to decide you thought you have a guest show and now you want to do it by yourself. You thought you'd be with a co-host and now you want to do it by all of that is okay to make those changes.
100%. Yeah. Commit to showing up, but also commit to reviewing the tape and making in-game adjustments, and not actually in-game in the sense of in the middle of your stream, but we look at the analytics, look at the numbers, we listen to our audience feedback, and then it's okay to adapt and adjust. And it's all about setting the expectation with your audience and communicating with them that this change is happening and why. We're all humans. Usually, if something is explained to us in a way that where it's showing concern for us also, most people will be pretty understanding. People aren't just going to stop watching your live streams because you made a change to the format that you had originally committed to. And shout out to Valerie. She says, Doc made me jump headfirst into the Instagram water last year and she's swimming now. I think that is such a good, healthy mindset for getting started, is it's okay. It doesn't matter who's watching it. It's about you just doing it and getting your message out there and delivering it. People will find you, and you'll find, your rhythm, and you'll start swimming too. So
it's like 4-year-olds. When you first meet them, you can't say hi to Uncle. No. Say hi to Auntie. No. Then all of a sudden, did you know that dinosaurs used to roam the earth, and then some of them can fly, and then the ones that can fly, and they're like, oh my God, kid, please, right? That's exactly what it's like. And all of us are in that 4-year-old state, hiding behind someone's leg, and then once you got your flow, you're nonstop.
Yeah. And the mistakes can happen. The mistakes are going to happen, like Doc said, and
100%.
and this is something I had said I was going to put it into the Ecamm community, which I just have not done. I'm going to be more present there, but I keep telling you guys that every time I see you. But the thing was, when I started back live streaming again at the beginning of the year, there were some mistakes, and I'm saying this for you to hear somebody who's been doing it for a while say that these things can still happen, so that you're not afraid, and you can go and watch them, because LinkedIn won't let you delete your live streams.
Nice.
Go find everyone that you follow right now that you think is incredible and go to their LinkedIn. Yeah.
So the mistakes are there forever. But the thing is that I learned through each one of them, and they were happening because I was pushing the platforms that I was using on purpose, so that I can use things with my clients in a deeper and more engaging way. And when you're trying to break things will break.
And since we're here, Doc mentioned live happens. I did have a question that was kind of maybe I'll ask it, maybe I won't, but since we're here, I wanted to know if anyone here has an epic live stream fail story that they can share, and also how. Take your pick. Take your pick. All right, who wants to go first? Who wants to share a live stream fail story?
I have two that happened in the same stream. They're mild, but they're ridiculous, so that people can relate to me deeply. I had made a commitment to stream more often because I work for a live streaming company, and it was obviously important to my job and to being able to help people. And I was on with one of our influencers. Shout out to Kevin Colby, who's fantastic.
Oh, love him.
And we had just partnered on a show together, and I had like set everything up in my home studio space. And I like thought everything was looking absolutely fantastic. And I was like, I'm just gonna run downstairs for a second, and to get something, and I'll be right back. And I was behind the scenes, like behind the countdown timer or whatever. I thought I had enough time. I got all the way back upstairs, put my headphones back on, and the show had already started. And it was just like my seat like blank empty. It was like, we're here with Katie, and his look like, Katie? And I totally slid in late. So, and on the same show, after failing at that one moment and then being like, red face and hugely embarrassed, my camera, I had not yet learned that I needed to either be plugged into the wall with my camera or to have a dummy battery or whatever else. So I had charged my camera thinking I was amazing. I was like, charge my camera. And it completely died halfway through that stream, which wasn't even a long stream. I think it was like 40 minutes. And when your camera dies, it just like freezes on your face. So it's like,
oh no,
in the worst possible angle. And now I know to like switch over to a backup camera or, switch to my face cam if I need to, or switch to Camo or switch to I have backup options and I'm really fast with it. But at that point I was just like, oh my God, it was just like this panic of what do? I look horrible. I have like all the feelings about how I look on screen. I look ridiculous and unprofessional. So it's scary, but after you get through those feelings and you're able to kind of laugh it off and see how the live audience responds, it's those moments that just make it real, and they know that you're not some perfect guru who's incredible at everything and that you're learning along with them. So I've never found it to be anything but relatable as much as it makes me kind of like cringe and feel nervous.
No, thank you so much for sharing. I feel like that is relatable. That's exactly the word that I'm thinking about, is whenever you share sort of like these public failures, people are like, oh, that's just another person like me, and it's okay if I have a failure because you can recover from it. We all learn from these. So,
yep.
Yeah.
Doc, do you have
you
one
ain't gonna
for
share
us?
nothing.
Yeah, no, I got thousands. I mean, do this all the time, right? One of the funniest ones was being live, and I was in the process of trying to tell my network, thing to go away, right? Because it was coming up saying, hey, I want to do an update on the router. I'm like, no, you don't. I'm live. And so I brought it to the front. But YouTube has this, not YouTube, Ecamm has a situation where you can say, keep the utility windows in front when Ecamm is in front. And if you don't check that, sometimes you think Ecamm is the background app, but it's actually the foreground app. And I went to go quit my Ubiquity network thing, and I just quit Ecamm. And it was like, everybody was like, hey, where'd Doc go? And then I come back, I'm like, what? Hey guys, hi, no big deal here, nothing to see. And then one of the other ones that was funny is we were doing a conference and we were having some kind of weird issue. So we wanted to restart the stream. And then somehow I brilliantly restarted it on my own channel and not on the Ecamm channel. And so like everybody, I'm like, where's everybody? How come ain't nobody over here? It's because I was streaming it to the wrong channel, but these things happen and it's not that big a deal. I think the best thing you can do, and I was telling somebody this the other day, while we're at camp and we get everybody set up and they're doing their streams, I'm gonna just go around and start randomly unplugging stuff and turning stuff off and see how people react to the recovery, because I think it's also important that you learn how to recover. And I think so many people who are used to just having things exactly right, they don't know what to do for the recovery, and then they go into panic mode. When something goes wrong, I don't even melt. I just go like this. I just do my finger trace and try to see signal flow. And, Katie's like, what's going on? What's going on? I'm like, hold on. All right, there it is. Right
I love that.
Can I add to that with what you're talking about with checking the signal flow and all the things? Because the other thing to know is that even when you've done all of the tech checks on your stuff, sometimes the tech gods just don't want to be in your favor.
Yep.
100.
And you know you just did it and everything was just working before the live stream happened. I know I'm not preaching only for myself today. The it was just working on the test, and then the moment you went live, your computer decides to show out. It will happen. It will happen, and
Exactly.
you have to be calm.
I
in the
love that you
situation.
you brought up tech checks because I feel like in a lot of people know that they need to do tech run throughs, whether they're recording video or doing a live stream, but you can't. It's really hard to practice what a recovery situation. So I
have
love
to go
what,
through it.
yeah, I love
Yeah.
what Doc said about at Creator Camp how he's just gonna go unplug people's things left and right to see how they recover because that's something that until you have the experience, it's hard to really be able to stay calm. And that's actually
Yeah.
why I wanted to talk about live stream fail stories, is because to talk about the recovery process. I like to say we don't use technology. Technology uses us. We are the conduits
100.
for technology. So
Yeah.
it's like we can't decide when the internet gods decide not to just take a snooze. Actually, that happened to me last week. I had a live stream last Wednesday. I showed up to the computer and my internet service was out. So,
Yep.
I had to come up with a real quick contingency plan. Contingency plan, guys. By the way, that is my tip for you guys. Backup plans when your ISP decides to
And these are reasons why
not show
when
up.
we're working with our clients and we're doing their events, why number one, we want to have tech checks. It's not because we don't think that you're a good speaker.
Yeah.
We want to have tech checks because we want to make sure that everything is working as it should be.
Yeah.
And we have backup plans. I'm not asking you to record stuff because we're always going to use it. I'm asking you to record stuff because just in case
just in case.
your internet decides
Yep.
that it doesn't want to work, we can
It
put a
happens.
video up that's already done. As much as we want you to
Yeah.
be live, we've decided it's going to be live. But if you can't be live, Lord Jesus, it's going to be there.
You know what's funny? When I was in college, right, my marketing teacher, we had to do presentation every single day. And this is why, like, I don't freak out over presentations either, because of Miss Susan Deek made us do a presentation every single day for 3.5 years. Um, but she would do things like roll up on you and turn off the projector because of the people who would love to do their presentations and look and then look at if you got to look at your own slides, you get an F. Period. You're not supposed to look at your own slides. And I watch the pros do this. I watch people who run big companies stop and then look at their slides, and I'm like, "Ooh, Miss Deep would mess you up." So that's where I got the idea from. People need to know what happens, like if your mic
Yeah.
automatically cuts out, like what do you do, right? If your camera drops, what do you do? Things like that. So yeah, I think it's a good idea to practice those contingency plans.
Mhm.
It's like fire drill.
Yeah, it's
Exactly.
a fire drill. Yeah.
Exactly.
And speaking of the tech, we've covered sort of why live streaming, what the game plan is for live streaming. Let's dig into the how a little bit. So we need equipment and a streaming platform, but since we've covered video gear basics in the last 2 episodes of Camo Classroom, I'm gonna pitch this question in a slightly different way to simplify the question a little bit, and I'm gonna pitch it to Doc, because Doc, I know you travel a lot and you create a lot of content on the go. What do you recommend as like the streamer travel kit for like the big 3 of like audio, lighting, camera setup?
Okay, good thing I have this drawer right here, Eden. Okay,
Hold.
couple things. All right,
Come
number
with
one,
me.
not slinging Ecamm merch, but merch.ecamm.com. You can get yourself a lovely little Travell bag that has all of your things in it, right? So when I open up this Travell bag, it has all of my wires in it. It has an extra USB hub. It has a light for the, gimbal, a bunch of cords, but mostly the most important thing to me is all of these adapters. I got adapters for everything. And then you can't really tell on here, but my ink pen actually has about 3 feet of gaff tape on it, just in case. If you don't know what gaff tape is, it's imagine duct tape that doesn't leave any nasty residue, right? As far as microphones go, this is one of my favorite kits. As far as the low tech is, it's analog. It's basically a Shure MV88 Plus. It just goes right onto your iPhone. So with this and Camo, you have all you need to do whatever, record videos, live stream, the whole 9 yards, because this will give you that fantastic audio. And if you're a little bit more, like loose with the Amex, then it would be like either the DJI wireless here, or I have my Rode Wireless Go also. But these are just cool because they're wireless. They can just magnet on. Half the time I just stick it on my hat, a la Hamilton style.
Ooh, nice.
And it completely works. I mean, it is really great audio. It records backup audio inside of here. And so, yeah, something as simple as a decent microphone, a tripod to sit your camera on, and yeah, that's about it. So, hey, Camo, imagine I'm in my hotel right now. Let's talk about it, right? Like it's super super simple. I do it all the time, and I definitely travel with basically this. And because I'm weird, I also travel with this because backup.
Yeah, because backup. Yeah.
Oh, yo, always have a backup plan. That's part of it. And then the next level to this question is, do we have any advice for the internet situation when you're traveling, when you're at hotels or Airbnbs?
Yes, I use a Nighthawk M6. They're not the cheapest things in the world. However, you can rent them. I have just been renting them from one of our Ecamm users who lives here. Luckily, he lives in Hawaii. We all say that.
He has
luckily.
saved the day many a
It's
time.
many
Hotspot
times,
plus
right?
plus Speedify has been like the godsend for
Speedify.
her.
Come on.
Yeah.
Say it again for the people in the back, Kate.
Hotspot plus Speedify plus team members who have cell phones that you can like bond together using Speedify. We've had everything in between, but it's worth renting it, even when we've paid thousands, and I mean thousands of dollars to have like the best possible internet on the show floor at blah 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 show.
Yeah.
Something still happens, it's a lie, other people are using it, the cable doesn't work, like yeah, and then we're the only people who, Doc pulls out his hotspot and we're like, hey, we're still up and running, it's still streaming.
Yo, people are walking by our booth like, how are you guys streaming right now? Well, hey now. And it's like, can we use your booth? And it's like, okay, leave all your information over here so we can teach you about Ecamm. And sure, you can use it. So yeah, we have actually saved other people's stream because of traveling with the Nighthawk M6. So for like a week, gym charges like $125 for a week. It seems like a lot, but it's not, because you don't want to be dependent on the telly at all, ever, never. Another secret scroll trick about hotels, I can hardly find them, but I travel with Diana a lot, and she's really short, so she can look under stuff. In your hotel room, there'll be a nondescript, I know, right? There'll be a nondescript white box about this big, and it will normally say Cisco on it. If you look at the bottom of that box, it will have 4 Ethernet places to plug in, because the routers that is primarily in hotels, especially Marriott and Hilton, are those little Cisco boxes, and you can plug in and you'll get that direct connect. So I also carry a Ethernet wire with me when I travel.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. If you have that Ethernet wire, like that's half of it. Really. Right? I mean, even 75%.
Yeah, I've been
whether
taking
you're at home or traveling.
Yeah, I've been taking notes this whole time because I might be taking Camo classroom on the road one of these days, and so I really just asked that question for me. So
we're doing this again live in the office.
Exactly, I will be. So very excited for Creator Camp, where I am going to get to be with Katie and Doc in person, and Ella, you should come too if we can make it happen.
Yeah.
Hey, Aiden.
Yo, why don't we take a moment to tell people about Creator Camp and what that is, since we've been talking about it a little bit here.
Sure. So Creator Camp is our first in real life unconference, as we are calling it. It is happening in Amesbury, Massachusetts in the US, October 11, 12, and 13. And it's really just meant to be an incredibly like hands-on, community-focused learning experience. So we have 5 workshops that we're running. Everyone that is coming is going to be broken up into cabins with a camp counselor, and they will go on a rotation through 5 workshops where, as Doc said, there is no stage, there is no presenter or presentation, there are no notebooks allowed. You will be touching, holding, feeling, losing camera access, losing internet access. So hopefully by the time that you are done kind of working through all of the workshops, not only will you have the experience of knowing how to do this thing, but also the people that you meet there. You'll be able to, know who is incredible at YouTube, or who's amazing at remote production, or who's like a camera wizard, or who's the audio person, so that you'll be able to build those relationships and kind of grow your network during the experience. So we're really excited about it. We're really trying to keep it small and really as meaningful as possible. But yeah, hopefully everyone watching, we only have a few spots left. So if you want to come, you get to swing by ecamm.tv/creatorcamp. And yeah, get your tickets soon, because we are very close to selling out, which is exciting.
Guys, where else?
Will there be s'mores? Will there be s'mores?
There will 100% be s'mores.
Going down.
We are leaning way into the camp theme, so it's going to be ridiculous and fun. It'll be campy in all the best possible ways. So definitely s'mores. We're covering all food and drink for everyone coming. So your ticket includes not only a great learning experience, but also all of the best, most fun excursions and foods and everything.
We're doing meatballs reenactment.
Exactly.
I mainly just want to come because I consider myself someone that thinks quick on her feet and very adaptable. So I want to see if I pass Doc's live stream fail test when he's unplugging things on me left and right. So we'll see. I can't wait.
Lucas just mentions this in the chat. I think one thing that goes missed, New England at Halloween time is levels
magical.
of beautiful that a thug from New York can go, wow, that's beautiful. Like, it is so pretty, bro. It's hard to wrap your head around. Yeah. Like, Luisa and I are driving around looking at taking pictures and stuff, and then people are like, oh, look at this cute couple with the kid. And I was like, hey, that's my friend. Like, but it is so beautiful. Like, it is crazy. So Lucas is right. The foliage is good. If you're a camera person, you like taking photos, whatever, there's so much to see and do. And these guys go all out at tying skeletons to scarecrow skeletons to poles and stuff. So there's just myriad cool decorations, Star Trek version, Star Wars version, like cartoon versions. Like, oh yeah, it's nuts. It's very beautiful, but there are ghosts. I'm just saying.
I'm excited. I love all things spooky, and Halloween season is my jam. All right. So I am trying to be a little conscious of time. Guys, please drop questions in the chat. We will do some questions towards the end. But since we have the honor of having two guests from Ecamm on right now, I want to talk a little bit about streaming software with you guys. So, Katie, what would you say are the top features that you feel like your audience uses the most?
Oh my gosh, that's a great question. Scenes, so the ability to plan out your content, no matter if you're streaming or anything else you're creating in video. Scenes, profiles, and probably the camera switcher, which is we've updated recently, but the ability to connect multiple cameras and then be able to really seamlessly switch between them. There's like a million features though in Ecamm, and everyone has a favorite, but I think those three are pretty foundational.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, Doc showing up. Yep.
And Ella, what are some of your favorite features that you use the most as an Ecamm user also?
Well, I just love Ecamm all the way around. There are so many things that you can do with it, and I love that I have the ability to make my stuff look broadcast quality. You have the ability to do that. There are some new things that I shouldn't say they're new. They're not new anymore, but you can now do more building inside of Ecamm than you could before. So I don't always have to build everything out in, say, a Canva or Photoshop. There are some things that I can do inside of Canva. Inside of Ecamm, directly there to make it super duper easy to get my graphics and things together, play the music directly from there that we have for our show, play the videos that we have directly from there for our show. And now, again, it's not a new feature, but if there is anything that I need to share that is online, being able to take a link and using that directly inside of Ecamm like it was a browser itself so that it runs more smoothly and looks more crisp is another great feature that's inside of Ecamm as well that I really like.
That's awesome.
And Doc, I'm phrasing your question a little differently. What do you feel like is the most underrated, underutilized features that you feel like more people should be using?
Oh, okay. Listen, did you go to the mastering interviews class?
Oh, I think I did. Wow, I did in fact go to the mastering interviews class hosted by Shawn Boyd. I don't know if you know that guy.
It's super funny. I was like, wait, he didn't just flip my question on me. Okay, first of all, let me get this 100% out the window, and I mean this from the bottom of my soul. The community. People do not use the community enough, right? Everyone is there to help you. I tell you what, someone brings up Mevo. I don't know, talk to Victor. I invoke Victor like Beelzebub. I'm like, Victor, this person needs help with a Mevo. And Victor's like on it. Like seconds later, he's like, yeah, I got you. You need to add this, and this, stir around, spin 3 times backwards, say Bloody Mary 3 times and it'll work. And the community is like that because we all do different things. We all have different skill levels, like Katie says. We all have different reasons why or how we're doing. So if someone comes up and says, hey, I'm about to do an event and I'm scared out of my wits, I'm going to go, Ella. And then she has no choice but to come in and answer now, right? I think our community is so underutilized, and we have an amazing community and a lot of people are active, but I want to see more people get active because most of the questions that are being invoked have been asked and answered and fully documented by another member in the community. And that's what makes it good. That's what really, really makes it good. So
I feel
when
like you're preaching
I
directly to
come,
me, and I will be in the community.
good.
Ella, we're looking at you.
I'm glad you're catching these breadcrumbs, right? Like I have been living in Hawaii for almost 40 years. I haven't been home in forever. So if I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna go to BK, I'm eating. Look, I'm starving, right? I'm looking for best ramen spot, best hot chicken spot, best slice in the BK. And she'll be like, here you go. And that, you know what I mean? It's the exact same thing. You do this every day. Yelp exists because of this. But then when we put software in front of it, people like get freaked out. They forget how to use their people skills. So I'm not even joking. It's the community. Please use it more. We're here. We have lots of things. The video hub got mad answers. Learn.ecamm.com got mad answers. And people are out there looking for somebody to help. Victor.
Yo, shouts to the homie Victor in the chat. Yeah, I think that actually, to sort of bring it back to sort of big picture a little bit, I think that's the most beautiful part about live streaming is that it's so much easier to build a community when you are directly interacting with people versus them just leaving comments on posts here and there. It's like such a slower way to get connected. But when you're live streaming, you're able to build these real connections in real time. And those are the moments that people remember when you add their comment to a live stream and you shout them out and you answer their question and it was a great question. Like, people want to interact with you more when you are interacting with them directly versus through a shroud, which is async, which has its values too. We're still connected, but I just think that that is where like the true like actual power of live streaming. Sorry, I'm on like my live streaming
Can I
soapbox
speak to
now.
that community piece that you're talking about and being able to speak with people in the moment?
Yeah, go ahead.
Excuse me. Because I think this is something else that people get caught up on when it comes to the beginning of them live streaming, that nobody was there. And you feel like maybe I shouldn't keep doing this because nobody showed up to my live stream. There could be any number of reasons why nobody showed up. It could be because it's just your first one or your first few ones. But if you continue to show up, people will start showing up for you. That being said, the way that you do your live stream, even when nobody is there, doesn't mean that you shouldn't be thinking about the people that will actually find you in the replay. So you still have to speak to those people that are going to be watching, whether they're there or not.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, this is so true. I live stream a ton for work, but Doc talked me into starting up a video podcast with my best friend that I do as a live show, and then we turn it into a video podcast to roll it across all different places. And so we do it live because I know how to do that. It's easy and it keeps me committed. And most times it's like maybe 3 people that watch. When we first started, it was like, I think just Doc, maybe 0 people at times. But because we know that anyone could pop in at any time, and because we're using that as our video and our audio to power our podcast, our energy stays high the entire time. And they're kind of those like good nerves, like on the, where you have those butterflies of like, oh, anyone could show up, or, anyone might be here. Like, I hope that it's, as good an episode as possible. So like and when we started at Ecamm, when we used to joke endlessly when I first joined the team about, it was basically just going to be Ken and Glenn's mom that was going to tune in. She did. She was there for like every stream. But it was like, that was our nonstop joke, right? But after a while, it wasn't just Ken and Glenn's mom. Shout out to Linda. It was everyone else popping in and hanging out. But yeah, there's something though still about, even if no one comes, someone could show up. So there's kind of that, you've left the door unlocked and you've invited a bunch of people into your home. So, anyone could come at any moment. You need to be ready. You need to be like on, at least for the time that you're there. I think it keeps you real. It makes sure that you show up every single week because you're being held accountable. You've invited people and they may come. They may not, but that's okay. They may. So it forces you to show up.
Can I tell you guys a really crazy one? Kirk was live doing an Amazon Live one day, and he has like, maybe 10 people watching, and but everyone that knows Kirk Nugent knows he's a professional. Like, he's doing his thing. Yeah. He's doing. Some guy comes in the chat, be like, "Hey, Kurt, thank you for streaming Amazon Live. This is Jeff Bezos." And Kurt's like, "Whatever, man, spam bot." And so Kurt's doing his thing, whatever, and he's like, "No, seriously, this is Jeff Bezos, and CNN is interviewing me right now about Amazon Live platform, and so I am say hello to CNN and the rest of America." And Kurt was like,
"Yeah,
oh my goodness, Lord,
it's just random because he was there and he was streaming, and it was a random find that and again, like, that's not, in Duck, you joke about this all the time. That doesn't mean that there's going to be millions of people on his show every single week. Nope. But for that one moment, 11. Like, there were a ton of eyes on him, but he had the energy there, right? Because he had set the intention to be there. Yeah, and I love that.
Just goes to show you never know who's watching, right? I was really surprised that the person who wrote one of my favorite books actually lurks all of my streams because they were getting into live streaming, and I had no idea. And I just send the letters like, "Hey, I got to read this book. I'm absolutely loving it. I'm on my 8th copy because I keep giving them away. I just gave my last copy away to Katie, actually." And I was like, this might sound way left field, but I really love to have you on my show. And he's like, "Yeah, because I need to ask you questions about how to use Ecamm." I'm like, "Wait, what?" And then so now Ray Edwards and I are friends. But like, I always looked at Ray like he would never talk to me. This is one of the copywriting wizards. And Ray calls me and be like, "Hey man, my camera not focusing." So you just never know, right? You really have no idea who's listening to you or what you have to offer. So this is why I say stream, because Loie, somebody wants to hear what you're talking about, right?
Yeah.
Lucas, somebody
a couple of moms and Jeff Bezos want to hear what you're talking about. Yeah.
To that point, what you're saying about, Doc, with people wanting to hear what you're talking about, the other fear that can come up is somebody else is talking about what you're talking about, so you don't need to talk. And the thing is that just because other people are talking about what you're talking about, they're not talking about it in the way that you are talking about it. And there are people that are for you and there are people that are for them. Just like we have millions of McDonald's with Burger King across the street. They're all selling burgers. It doesn't keep them from selling their burgers just because Burger King is selling burgers that the same as McDonald's is selling burgers. Mm-hmm. You can be talking about the same things as 50 billion other people, but there are the people that need to hear it the way that you say it, and they will only be receptive to the way that you say it. So you have to get out there and do you, get on your live stream and just do it.
Yep. The way you say it, the way you explain it, the way you represent could be completely different from another person. And I don't think a lot of people understand that. But look at how many people are talking about the playoffs right now, right? They all got different views. They all got different favorite Celtics. They all, just have a different vibe. And so different audiences. So remember we had ESPN when you go into the ESPN block right now, there's 40 channels. Like it takes hours when the remote to get past the sports channels now. Before it used to be one. There was only one. And that joke about ESPN the Ocho from Dodgeball is actually real now. We thought that was
Yep.
funny back in the
No,
day,
it's
but
real.
we're up to like 8 different channels of ESPN. So yeah, I love that, Ella. That was on point.
Yeah, I sort of on the basketball commentary note, I think that live streaming has evolved the way that we consume sports in a lot of ways, because just like what Doc was saying, it used to be the nationally televised games on ABC and TNT, and that's all you have. But with live streaming, I can go watch along with Mo DeKeel or Nate Duncan. Like, these are like people that break down and analyze the basketball game in ways that make more sense to me. Some people love Hubie Brown. They love Jeff Van Gundy, the Mike Breen, Bam, like the sort of more generic, typical, traditional TV commentary. But some people are looking for breakdowns of, adjusted plus minus in the box score and salary cap ramifications of certain activities. And you're able to have that now through live streaming, and you weren't before because you were just limited to TNT and ABC. So
Yeah, the fan commentary is actually way better on many things, even in Walking Dead or Succession. I love the fan. Oh, when Game of Thrones was on, the amount of streams I watched about who had different ideas about who Brandon Stark really was like, I thought he was the Night King for the longest time, and then somebody set me straight. And I was like, okay, I can see where the fallacy is in my story. All right, let's go. But I did call that they were related. I ain't gonna do no more spoilers than that. But I knew that from
come on now.
season 3.
all right, so before we get to questions, I want to go and ask one more question around the room, and that is if there is sort of one live streaming best practice or tip that you want to see more people trying to do better at live streaming for, what would that one tip be? Doc, you look like you're ready with an answer.
I am absolutely ready with an answer. Get it through your head. Nobody, absolutely nobody cares to see the experts anymore, because all of our experts turned out to be like the Wizard of Oz. People want to see the real you. If I hear another person say be authentic, I swear to I'm going to flip my wig, because if you have to be authentic, you're not being authentic. You just have to be. Stop. Just come out. Let the real you out. It doesn't matter where you are in your game. Somebody wants to follow you. I would rather learn about golf from Eden than Tiger Woods. Why? Because give me a month and I'll smoke her. I will never catch up to Tiger Woods. I want to learn from the person who's 20. I want to learn from the person that's 20 to 30% better than me, because I feel like I can catch up to them. That is the general population. People are so sick of the fake gurus now, so they're looking for real kinfolk. That's all it's about. So, yeah, please just be.
All right, fire up the golf tournament at Creator Camp, because we're
scared. You're probably good.
Let's go. All right, Katie, what about you? What's your one tip takeaway that you want people to think about and keep in mind?
Well, I'll hold to my theme of being a planner. I would say if you're able to, whether you're using Ecamm or another similar tool, to be able to really storyboard out your show and think through what the possible segments are and what the flow of it is, because you're going to save yourself a ton of time and make the entire experience just better and stronger for you and for your audience if you can put a little bit of that upfront work in. So don't worry so much about the post-production stuff. If you can get a little bit on the planning side, you won't need to do a lot of that post-production work. So do it consistently, and just have a really simple, easy to replicate and easy to do every whatever week, month, whatever plan. I think that'll make it a lot easier for everyone.
All right. And Ella, what about you?
All right. I have a potentially controversial tip. I see it all the time. And you have to, I'm saying this with a grain of consider your brand. However, I want you to keep your replay audience in mind when you're
Mm-hmm.
live streaming. What I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying is, do you need a 5-minute countdown timer at the beginning of your live stream for your replay audience to have to either scrub through or simply walk away from?
Yep.
Please, God, for the love of God, stop. Also, get to the point. Get to the point right at the start of your live stream. Do not hem and haw. Do not say, I'm waiting. We're going to wait for a few people to come on and see who's going to be happening. Just get to it. Get to it, because that replay, all of that's in the replay. And your audience is
Yeah.
going to be already annoyed that they have to
Mm-hmm.
wait another 10 minutes while you wait for people that are not coming right now because they're watching the replay. So,
Yes.
okay, I'm a step
Man,
down.
that's like when mama ready to leave for church. If your buddy at the car, yo, you left at home and you about to get work when she get back. She gonna forgot she found Jesus. She gonna come back and take you out. You must be at the
So
back of the
true.
Buick when you're ready for church.
No, I love that tip because I do think it is important to keep in mind like the watching experience. And I am that person that if I go on a YouTube video and there's 20 seconds that they have to lose me, I am gone. I am closing out that tab and I am never to be seen again. So
I'm starting
Can I
all my
add
videos
something
with,
to
"Hey,
that?
Eden."
That being said, know that if you're live streaming to multiple platforms, that some platforms delay the start of your live stream more than others, LinkedIn
yes.
being one of them. So for
Yep.
my live stream, I specifically have a couple of seconds, not 5 minutes, of a timer, because I know that if I start immediately on LinkedIn, they're going to miss the first 3 seconds of what I said.
Yeah. That's a
So you
valid
have to
point.
keep those things in mind.
Yep.
All right. Thank you guys for those tips. Let's get to a couple of questions. And I'm just going to be honest with you guys. My Ecamm is rainbow pinwheeling right now, and I don't want to touch anything.
no.
So I'm reading comments from my iPad. I would
Okay.
put them on screen. But Karen KK Taylor asks, why did I almost just call you Shawn, Doc? What was the favorite
Not in front of
microphone?
the kids, Eden.
What was the favorite microphone for the iPhone? I think she was talking about when you were talking about the travel kit, the two mics that you shared. Could you just go over those a little bit for us again?
The short MV88 Plus is an analog version, so it's not really digital, wireless, whatever. That is quite amazing. I also have the DJI mic, which is not exactly the least expensive thing, but it's glorious. And then another option would be the this is the same thing as the DJI mic. This is the Rode Wireless Go. They have a new version called the Wireless Go Me, which is only a single receiver. This is a double receiver, and they're all absolutely fantabulous. I just happen to like the DJI the most because it's the smallest. But when I'm in the studio, I often use this because it connects to my box.
Nice.
Technical
And
terms.
I am seriously considering asking Doc to come on for an all about audio Camo classroom because I know he has the experience for it. That's definitely not me stalling while I scroll looking for another comment because I can't find the ones that I favorited. Lucas C asks, what's the number one hardware capability / software feature on your wish list? I think he might have been asking about Ecamm there.
Yes. I think one of the first things I want to say, and I think I said it in the chat, but I'll say it for people who are listening on the replay. We don't really care about your hardware. For the most part, if your Mac can see it, we can use it. And I don't mean that in a not laissez-faire type situation, but in other words, you can bring whatever you have. And for the most part, if your Mac sees it, we're good with it. Because I think a lot of people, like when stuff doesn't work, especially in the hardware world, like people are like, well, Ecamm doesn't work with this. I'm like, okay, we don't really touch that. We don't mess with your audio. We don't mess with your video. We are glorious in, glorious out. If you give us glorious, we're going to give you back glorious. We don't really mess with those things. So for the most part, hardware, you're good to go. Software feature, the only two things that really I want, which I understand why we're taking our time on this decision, is I would like to have plugins for audio, because I would like to bring an actual meter that I know how to read as a 40-year audio person. And I would like to be able to do my compression, EQ, and things in the software without having to rely on, going elsewhere after. So my podcast is just done quicker. And so every time I have dinner with Ken or Glenn, I bring it up. And they're gonna be like, hey, you guys, we're
Just
going to dinner tonight?
casually
No.
thinking about
Why? Because you're going
EQ.
to bring up VSTs again. No, I'm not. I promise. Hey, Ken, when are we going to get VSTs? So trust me, I'm going to be there in August. I will be in their bonnet again. I'm forever
Nice.
telling them this. And then I don't think it's that they don't want to. They don't want to make, Ella scared or like other community members scared of the app. It already has a lot of buttons. And so they just don't want to freak people out. So we have to find a way to do it in a manner that won't scare the muggles.
Yeah.
Mm.
Here's can I have a request that for Ecamm
Yes.
that I've been requesting for every now and again, and I've only just realized the name that to call it. It's
Oh, good.
Magic Move. It's Magic Move. I want Magic Move in Ecamm so that I don't have to do it from Keynote.
She's trying to get us sued by Apple because it's a trademark name.
Well, you don't have to call it Magic Move.
I'm just teasing. Yes, I know exactly what you mean. Somebody else brought that up
shift.
this week. I think this week or
Yeah.
last week, somebody brought that up. So, okay. That might be
Noted.
hard, but I'll ask.
Yeah.
I know how to formulate the question in a manner that's twin speak.
Twin speak, I love that. And also, just while Doc, you were talking about the audio things, I wanted to mention one of my favorite Ecamm features is that Ecamm has the ability to do separate audio and video tracks, which I come from a podcasting background, and the first thing I learned was everyone records their own track. Like,
Yeah.
that is just one of the first things I've learned, and it's always stuck with me. And Ecamm makes it just incredibly easy to have separate video and separate audio tracks for everyone joining the show. That's like I think it's a massively, massively underrated feature. All right, we got one more question from friend of the show, Caleb Landmesser, and this was definitely when Ella was talking about McDonald's and Burger King, but he asks, are they selling burgers, really?
Well, considering that I can no longer have gluten, I don't know if they're selling burgers
I was
anymore.
like, no idea.
Ooh.
All right,
They
y'all.
were when I could eat gluten.
Ella, there's a lot of good gluten-free options in Amesbury, Mass.
we're gonna get you to
Just
come
want
out here, whether you like
just
it or
want
not.
you to know.
My sister is up there, so I know this to be true because she keeps sending me pictures of everything that she and her boyfriend are eating, all the restaurants that
There
they're
you
eating at
go.
that's all gluten free.
Yeah.
Nice.
I get
So,
very
Ella, so when I was in Mass last year, Halloween time, right? And then we were done our project. So I'm like, Ken, I'm gonna take Luis and Austin, our like creative team. I'm gonna take them out to dinner. Is that cool? Is that right? Cool? So we go to this restaurant and they had like this killer ribeye steak. Like, it was like a $70 steak. So I sent a picture to Ken. I was like, look, this restaurant has lots of gluten-free options, like this steak. And he says, you better get the steak. And I was like, yes. Okay, cool. So, I didn't get no weird experience report like, Doc, what in the hell is an $80 steak? Nothing. He didn't say it. So,
It was gluten free. It was gluten
It was
free.
gluten free.
And-
Yeah. It was gluten
And so
free.
I purposely made it so that Ken saw like all the gluten-free stuff on the menu. And then fun fact, when we were home the last time, I say home, when we were back the last time, we went as a whole Ecamm fam to the same restaurant, and Ken and I got the steak again because that's something
Nice.
mean, bro.
Yo, I want to get that steak too.
Oh my God, it's so good. It's so good.
All right, we got one last comment that I want to shout out, and it's from a friend of the show, Victor. He says, Ecamm, like some cameras, have a basic mode and advanced mode, so us basic users don't get scared. So,
Yeah.
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah.
We're actually
Yep.
working on finding ways to make it easier to feel like, take away the O word. I'm never going to say that. But
We all
Pastor
know what
Kurt
you're talking
come
about.
up with a brilliant situation. Pastor Kurt says, and I do my demos like this now. When you first get the app, anybody who's watching who hasn't tried it, download the trial, please, right away. Close every single window except
Close
the one with
every
your face in
window.
it.
Yeah. Exactly.
And when he told
That's
me
been our
that,
new
I'm like,
MO.
brilliant, because I think looking at all of the stuff does mess with people, right? But I like to posit it like this. When I go to get rent a car, right? I don't know what kind of car they're giving me. It's not what I'm used to driving, but I know where the wheel, gas, brake, dip is. That's all I need. So I ignore the rest of the stuff. On the second day, I start pressing all of the CarPlay or Android Play or whatever they have, and then I start figuring stuff out. And next thing you know, I don't want to get rid of this car because it has way cool stuff than my car, right? So it's a way to just approach it like a rental car. Just know where the gas brake is in your square. Everything else you just add to an iterative process, a la Katie Fawkes.
Yeah, I like having the things that I like seeing everything because I like
Me
to be
too.
in control. But I can definitely
100%.
understand how it can seem like a lot before you know what all the moving parts are. All right, and we have gone way over on time. I'm not exactly sure how exactly I'm gonna end the show because I can't move on to my outro scene.
It's okay. It's live. You know what? We'll fade away.
Exactly. So sorry, you guys, for the abrupt stream ending. We're just gonna say bye, and I guess I'm gonna force quit Ecamm and hope that does the trick. And just a little one last little note is there's an ongoing it's an inside joke within the Camo team where whenever I host Zoom meetings, I hit end meeting real fast before people have a chance to say goodbye. So I think that might be what I'm doing right now. So thank you all for joining us today. Thank you all for joining us live. And if you have other topics you want us to cover, let us know. We'd love to hear from you. We're looking for feedback. We want to connect with you. We want to deliver content that makes sense for you. And with that said, bye everyone. This is going to be your awkward